Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Kim Brown. We are on location, Fairfax, Virginia, at the Eagle Bank Arena for the Prophets of Rage show. I am so honored to be sitting next to two of the members of Prophet of Rage, but you know them from other groups as well. This is Chuck D from Public Enemy. Chuck, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Always good to be with Real News and be with BReal News.
And we could call it the BReal News. BReal from Cypress Hill. Hello, sir. How are you?
Thank you. It's very real.
It's full of realness in here right now. And fellas, you guys are performing tonight here in the D.C. area for the Prophets of Rage show. Prophets of Rage made up of BReal from Cypress Hill, Public Enemy with Chuck D and DJ Lord, and members of Rage Against the Machine, including Tom Morello. How did this collaboration come to fruition, Chuck?
Well, it was an idea that was floating around in Tom's mind when, a super collaborative set of musicians, and this was the music part of it. And then with this year actually emerging and candidates running and using let's Rage Against the Machine, and from a Paul Ryan to even in the Trump campaign, Tom Morello just got sparked, and he said, no. So he reached out to me, and we formed some, conversations about it. I was already on a tour last wintertime. He also reapproached me after the tour. One thing led to another. We got together. We was doing some things. I brought DJ Lord in to make it different. And I made it clear that it wasn't going to be like Rage Against the Machine, too, but, let's do some things. And then the minute that the maestro over there, his name came up, then it was like, whoa, wow. If he agrees, man, this thing is a thing. And it was wonderful on paper. And once BReal agreed, it was like, okay, and this is it. And this is what they're still saying about raging against the machine as far as a politic was concerned. And we organically, we all got together, put it together, and from that point it zoomed almost like the locomotive that ran, off underneath you, and you had no control over the speed. So from that point on, it became a reality, and then we faced that challenge and made it a reality, and here we are.
B, when you got the call from Chuck and Tom, what was the first thing that crossed your mind?
Well, I'd heard from a mutual friend what was going on, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they call. And, I got a text from Brad and then a call from Tom, and he gave me the idea on what they wanted to do, and I was like all in right at the top, for me to be able to rock with Chuck on stage and Tom, Tim, and Brad, that's, as an artist, it's a big deal. It's like on a wish list. Okay, who could I be rocking with? And we've all talked about working together in some form of fashion throughout the years that we've known each other. So when I got the call, it was kind of surreal, like hearing about it through a third party and then actually getting the call. It was pretty exciting. And then, when we got to the first rehearsals, there was a little bit of nervous anxiety, like, can we really live up to this music? Because it's very powerful. And, in Chuck and my, in our role, we had to learn Zach's words and cadence and make sure that it was just as powerful and on the money with the music so that, the people reconnect with it. And, it was a challenge for me, and I love challenges. So, I embraced it, and the fact that I got to do it with these guys, it put it over the top for me. So I was excited and very happy when I got the call, for sure.
So the collective discography of Public Enemy, of Cypress Hill, of Rage Against the Machine, is chock full of music that certainly never shied away from social and political issues. So I'm curious, how did you come up and formulate your set list for when you go out there and do the live performances? Like whose songs are getting done here? Everybody's, some of this, some of that. How does this work?
Yeah, it's a combination. It's like a it's like a pot of gumbo, if you will. There's Cypress Hill songs, there's Public Enemy songs, there's Rage Against the Machine songs, there's some songs that we've mashed up, and there's a couple of original songs in there. So it's a little bit of all of our catalog, combined. And to Tom's credit, he masterminded the set list, and we all have suggestions and we go over them, and whatever works is what sticks. But for the most part, Tom has a pretty good idea of which direction a set list should go, and it's like a roller coaster ride. And if you don't hold on tight, you're gonna fall right off.
Tom revealed to me yesterday that he collects set lists like baseball cards. So yesterday, I don't know if you heard this beat. Yesterday, he said that he's so obsessive with set lists that, like, he would actually do like Zeppelin set lists from '76 and just work the songs and say they could have did it better this way. So that's what we're in store for, and that's pretty good to actually ride with. That he's obsessive about set lists, but really, you take somebody to micro manage that aspect, and then us to make it work and make it count. And we went through like 5-6 months of rehearsals to get to this point. So none of this is automatic. This ain't karaoke. This is not, BReal and Chuck D replacing Zach De La Rocha. This is none of this. This is an organic situation where if there was any block in the road to keep it from happening because it didn't fit right, it would have happened already. So this is what, we're enjoying the ride, and we have a mission. We have a statement that goes well beyond what happens here in the Beltway past November, because like I said earlier, I mean, we were already crisscrossing, smashing arenas and stadiums across Europe, getting ready for this tour, and even intertwining that with some show dates as we were preparing for this time.
Chuck, you talk about the formation of this band being organic, but it feels really deliberate because of the times that we find ourselves in right now. Not only is this an election season, but there's a lot of social upheaval happening in the United States right now that has not happened for some time. And it seems as if the Prophets of Rage coming together on this tour this summer is speaking directly to that. B, what you think?
I believe it is. That's one of the main reasons that we formed this band, was because there was no one else speaking to it on a huge platform. Most bands that are trying to talk about what's going on, they're pretty much pushed down to an underground level, and they're not getting any light on radio or anything like that because there's no money in the message. And that's the big deal. You're not going to hear this type of music from other artists on the radio because perhaps their record companies don't see the marketability in it, whereas we don't care about that. We've had our successes in Rage Against the Machine, Public Enemy, and Cypress Hill. We've all done well for ourselves in our careers, so this means something different for us. It gave us the platform to speak the mind of the people and how we feel about what's going on right now. The injustices going on with the law enforcement, just the overall fuckery in our political system. Sorry about that. And just the state of the world right now. It's just crazy. There's lack of compassion. Most people, if you see somebody on the street getting jumped by 2 and 3 people, most people are likely to film it instead of going and trying to help that person. And all this stuff that we're trying to do speaks to all this. The numbness that people have right now and the hopelessness because there's nobody out there championing their cause or speaking for them. So we took it upon ourselves to be that, take the flack, along with the people that might applaud our efforts. There's also going to be those that try to devalue in what we're trying to do here. But we knew coming in that we were going to face some scrutiny and things like that. But it's in all of our nature, in all 3 of our individual bands, that we don't really care what people think outside. It's about what we're trying to do that's important, and we won't let anything get in the way of that.
You know, your role as veterans, not only in this game overall, like you just said, gave y'all the platform to come out and do this right here to speak to the protest, to the rebellion, to the uprisings that are happening. You know, Chuck. So like when you guys are doing this music that is in some cases 20 years old, 25 plus years old, and you're seeing the reaction that people are giving you because they feel it right now in 2016. What does that say to you about the art that you made and how it still holds up very well so many years later?
Well, it's a long time in music life, but it's a short time in real life. And the reality is that somebody that was 6 years, 20 years ago could be 26 with 2 kids and trying to figure out where do they live. There's a homelessness issue here in the United States. It's all screwed up in the area of medical and health care, you know. It's all totally out of bounds and out off the charts when it talks about people having to, you know, have a job to pay their rent. You know, you hear the talk about, okay, there's no jobs. Jobs just don't pop up. You know, like, okay, I hear these stats. Oh, the United States seems like it's a 13% increase on jobs. Like from where, you know? So you want to have communities to have a sense of themselves and not just be in plantation states for the people. And then this is where, you know, where this comes in and where we come in. It's like, I don't think a group that just came out of anywhere as young heads could actually answer a lot of this turmoil that's coming, you know, systematically, like, and have it just turn a switch to the demographic that's out there now. I think it may be taking a combination of experienced cats like us that have dealt on all levels of talking to people to understand that, yeah, we bring in, as they say, piss and vinegar to the table, but we also bring in some wisdom and logic to know exactly how the fight is going to be, you know, taken, or how we're going to go about the fight, which is a little different than if you're coming in and you're just, you know, that was a different time. And it was easy to actually get people to bandwagon that. Now, today, people are distracted in a lot of different areas. So to really get their attention, which is currency today, you got to really seriously have a blow that's focused. And I just think every single member of this group has a focus that aligns up with my spirit. And it's a spirit thing, too. I feel each one of these brothers that we're in the same spirit, and to make change, and why not? You know, it's as opposed to why not?
Everything is pretty much focused on the presidential election. Obviously not the only election that's happening, but it's the one that people tend to give the most attention to and the most light, I guess, given the clown show, for lack of a better term, that we're seeing really on both sides. Right. So your thoughts, basically. What are your thoughts about election season 2016?
I mean, this one is like you said, it's a clown show. It's been a circus, you know. We've had Donald Trump, who is not a politician, and talking, you know, a lot of craziness, out of the box, stuff that has resonated with some people because they're tired of lifelong politicians. And then you have the other side, who is Hillary, the lifelong politician, who, you know, she's resonated to some people that are just afraid of having Donald Trump in there. And then you got people in the middle who don't want either of them. And those are most likely the people we represent because, you know, we don't endorse either candidate because we don't believe in either of them. We believe in, you know, making the change yourself. You know, you don't need the politicians to make the change. You gather, you organize, and with those like-minded people, you fight for the change that you want instead of depending on the politicians who do this circus thing for your vote and then never actually fulfill the promises that they give to the people, the lies, you know. So I think for us, we're just going to vote for the prophets of rage.
Who gets your vote, Chuck?
I'm going to follow what BReal said. He said everything clear as a bell. And I defer to a lot of what he says and a lot of whatever every member of this group says, because we're surrounded by these situations every day, and we're asked by a lot of people, like, what's going on? Musically, there's an answer to it. Lyrically, there's an answer to it. and also politically, there's an answer to it. So yeah, this is a very yeah. He came in to get something. Um,
Tom Morello just stepped in here, snuck in here, snatched some chips, waved, and and left. But I'm sorry, Chuck, continue.
This is called luxury. No, no, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bizarro situation. I tell people you got to pay attention to your local. That stuff that's on TV is almost like the false god type of thing going on. But the local, like, all right, who's this cat that's getting voted into the school board? Who's the dude that's the sheriff that never gets an opposing person running against him? You're in a straight out, one-sided county that you live. You figure that stuff out. That stuff that's happening at the top, man, it's like the most disappointing thing of all, because if Bernie Sanders was talking the right thing, how disappointing is it to so many people that they ended up in the same place that they started before he even existed, like he never existed. And if you're not going to have the clown show with Trump, you got to face the monarchy of Clinton, and it has a lot of people shaking their damn head. So vote for Prophets of Rage.
The media is a big reason why we find ourselves in this situation right now, dealing with Clinton and Trump. But you both have your own media ventures going on individually. Chuck, for people who don't know about Rap Station, let them know.
Well, we provide service to a lot of rap music and hip hop and artists and producers and women and DJs, and 98% of the music is obscured. And so we provide that service, and it's a joy of providing a service with more audio than the visual aspect. We've also learned from this great man here with what's on his hat, BReal TV, who's a large visual presence as well as audio. And, it's just a lot of things that's out there that's just not getting the speck of attention when it comes down to media. And I've known this man for over 20 years, and I know that he provides service to so many people getting their breaks, have been toiling in their art form or in their social surroundings for so long, and he doesn't spend his time, dwelling on any part of the downside on somebody, or the negative. It's so much of the upside. People spend a lot of their time going into a studio, making a song, maybe putting out an album, getting it on iTunes, hoping that maybe 200 people could know about it, and and we spend time to try to help that out, and then that's my dedication.
BReal TV, be real. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, I mean, I can echo what Chuck said. We built these platforms, independently to give light to other artists that aren't necessarily getting light on, terrestrial radio, maybe a little bit on satellite here and there, but we wanted to be an alternative, and not just to give light to artists, but have that platform to have conversations like this, and entertain people and to educate them, about music, politics, and marijuana legalization, to be quite frank. But these platforms have allowed us to be out there with the people and interact, which is something Chuck and I have done throughout all of our careers. I mean, he pretty much taught me that from afar, and so the interaction with the fans through these platforms, whether it's audio or visual, I mean, it speaks volumes, because these fans, they want to hear something with substance. They there's plenty of mindlessness out there for them to see and to listen to, reality TV shows and some of the stuff that's going on radio and whatnot. So we're trying to do something uniquely different, be out of the box, play obscure stuff that it's not the popular song right now, but it's from an artist who is doing something different but quality. And we're just trying to provide that service, and just have another platform out there available that is not conventional, and we don't march to the drum any corporate company funding us. You know, it's all self-sufficient, and you know, it allows us to speak our minds without being censored at all. So, you know, they're very important to us, and fortunately, people have caught on to it, and both platforms continue to grow. And with this Prophets of Rage band in, you know, in the world now, you know, it allows us to tell people exactly what we're doing with Prophets of Rage and all the other things that we're doing. So media is important for sure, but you know, you have to take about the responsibility of what you're putting out there. You could put out some of the mindless stuff too, and you have to live with with what you put out there and stuff like that. So, you know, we try to make it a fair balance of you know, substance, and I like to call it celebratory. You know, the mindless stuff. You're just celebrating life. The materialistic things, to me, is just, that's celebratory music. But the substance we also have, and that's the most important thing, because people need to hear a message, you know, and that's important to me, and I know it's important to Chuck. So.
Well, there's party music and then there's rebel music. And these gentlemen's goal is to make America rage again. I'm so honored to be sitting here along with Chuck D from Public Enemy, BReal from Cypress Hill. They came together with members of Rage Against the Machine and have formed Prophets of Rage. They are coming to a city near you. You need to go check them out. Gentlemen, thank you both so much for taking this time to speak to The Real News.
Thanks for having us. It's been real.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you.